Alrighty.
You may feel like I feel someday. You may feel like I feel some way, but no, you'll never see the end of my world, my friend. No, you'll never see the end of my world, my friend, until the bitter end. Upon your head, the rain, she calls me aloud by name. You may feel the wind, it blows against your face. Walk a mile in my shoes, then complain, but no, you'll never see the end of my world, my friend. See the end of my world, my friend. No, you'll never see the end of my world, my friend. No, you'll never see the end of my world, my friend, until the bitter end.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Welcome to the second edition of the Whomagoo interview tonight, Tuesday night. And a fabulous artist, Jason Robert, is my guest. He's out in California, a little Mudstomp music. Jason, thanks for coming on, my friend.
It was my pleasure, Tommy.
Awesome. Tell us a little about where you come from, all the background, and again, that great concept, Mudstomp music with Americana roots. I love that on your website. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Mudstomp music is what I've come up with to kind of describe my sound with the help of others and others who have helped describe it. And it's a sound that I believe is, indigenous to the Mojave High Desert. And you and I spoke earlier a little bit about all the cool things that go along with that. It wasn't that long ago, I recently made a trip out to the Salton Sea as well.
Uh-huh.
And that we just love all that. But yeah, the Mudstomp music, Tommy, is it's basically a mixture of 30s Delta blues, maybe mixed with a little bit of 90s grunge music.
Uh-huh.
And
Update a little
and
bit.
it's Yeah, I kind of married them together a little bit, and we use a lot of open tuning. I use open tuned guitars and slide guitars, everything from lap guitars, Weisenborn acoustic lap guitars, to steel guitars and resonators, and a lot of bottleneck slide and lap slide with a real dry backbeat behind it, based on the kick drum and the snare drum, and not a whole lot in between. And I usually tote around a bass player with me, and the music's just organically grown over the last, I'd say, 8 years. 8 years ago, we came out with our debut album, and I had a completely different sound then. I was using different guys. That album was produced and recorded by Juan Nelson. He's a friend of mine, and he's been a long-time bass player for the last 20 years with Ben Harper and the Innocent Criminals. And Juan's just a lovely man, and he interpreted my songs, and I gave him the lead, and we came up with an album, and there's some good qualities to that album, but it just wasn't me. And to tell you the truth, Tommy, I think I spent the last, 5-6 years kind of redefining me musically, and I've tapped into this sound that, like I said, it's a little bit of 90s grunge rock, it's a little bit of Delta blues from the 20s and 30s, and it's definitely a high desert, dry and lonesome sound, with a lot of reverb on the drums, no effects really at all on the guitars, and of course a lot of reverbs on the vocals, on my voice, to kind of give it that old record sound, the old Roy Orbison, Etta James, Elvis Presley type record sounds. And yeah, it has birthed Mudstomp music.
I love that concept that you're doing with that, my friend, because I'm a big fan of Pete Townsend, and one of his things is God lives in the notes of music, how you can take that, bend that, and create that. And what you're doing is you're taking the old school sound, updating a little bit with some modern technology, and making it your sound. Jason Robert, that's
right.
That's taking that note and making your own signature. It's kind of like that sound of Keith Richards or whatever, and labeling it you. And that's a great process and a great story along the way as you became who you are in your musical career. And again, getting back into the California, I was at the Salton Sea. I just actually saw the Who in San Diego, and they're talking about the mountains and the desert. And I'm like, where? I want to go. I'm from Wisconsin. And I drove on Interstate 8. Next thing you know, I'm going down in the Salton Sea. I'm going. So it's really an experience. And you're bringing that old school people that live there and that sound with your original music and history, too. So I really appreciate that, Jason.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, you're right. There is a lot of history in it, and I've tried to update it, make it new, and make it fresh and vibrant without sacrificing any of its most sacred qualities, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, folks. Let's crank it up. Let's do a drop it. Stone Stanley, excuse me. Now, that was a band or a concept that you're kind of retiring, did you say? That you're having your last setup with these guys?
Yeah, Stone Stanley has been the band name for the last 8 years. And what we've done, Tommy, is we have an album. Not the Mudstomp tapes that you're playing right now. That's our last album that came out last December.
Okay.
But we have another album right now that's done that we're about to release, and it is called The Death of Stone Stanley. And there's a lot of funeral dirge songs and old blues songs and new blues songs and new originals on this album that'll I'll have to come back on and have you play that one. But that chronicles the death of Stone Stanley, which is really a rebrand for me personally. And moving forward, it'll still be the same sound, same Mudstomp music, same singer, same voice, same songs. We've just retitled it after my name, Jason Robert, instead of Stone Stanley, who is more or less a mythical person.
I love the whole concept that you're the album to retire him and rest in peace and going forward, and let's do it. Drop it. Stone Stanley, Jason Robert. Thanks, everybody. Here we go. Thanks.
But if you really feel it, go ahead and feel. If you're gonna steal it, go ahead and steal. If you're gonna rock it, go ahead and rock. If you're gonna drop it, go ahead and drop. I can see into your heart, I know just what you're feeling. Oh, 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 I can see into your belly, I know just what you're drinking. Oh, 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 thoughts of love, hopes and dreams, thoughts of anarchy and but if you really feel it, go ahead and feel. If you're gonna steal it, go ahead and steal. If you're gonna rock it, go ahead and rock. If you're gonna drop it like it's hot. To the bridge, hey! But if you really feel it, go ahead and feel. If you're gonna steal it, go ahead and steal. If you're gonna rock it, go ahead and rock. If you're gonna drop it, go ahead and drop. If you're gonna drop it like it's hot. If you're gonna drop it, go ahead and drop.
Oh, thanks everybody. Awesome, awesome. Jason Robert is my guest. We are just firing this up. He is live in California. He's the Dodgers, and I'm in Milwaukee, and I'm the Brewers. How you doing, buddy?
I'd be doing a lot better if we could put the Brewers out.
I think the game is about to start because it's 8:30 Central Time, my 6:30 by you. So, geez, early games for you guys to put up with us in the East and the Central Time, huh?
That's right. It's weird, those time zones. But, man, the Brewers are tough. I got to give it to you.
Yeah, it's a blessing the way the team has been built and a lot of fun this way. So, again, that comes with karma, life, music, sports, and all the good stuff. And Jason Roberts, again, my guest tonight, and talking about the Mudstomp music from the desert, the high desert. Now, what's the difference between the high desert and obviously the high and the low desert? But what does that all mean? I'm a Midwesterner. Fill me in on that.
Well, if you're down in the low desert, we have Death Valley down here in our Mojave Basin, and it continues on through the low valley of Southern California mainland, through Palm Springs and the Palm Desert. And it's a very low desert with a lot of humidity, very sticky, very sappy. You just feel like you need a shower. And when you come to the high desert, which is, northern San Bernardino County and Joshua Tree, Riverside County,